Recall all of the showcases I had done before that. Alright. Additionally, I was repeatedly rejected by every label. With his timeless anthems that define generations, sold-out tours, and chart-topping tunes, Alan Jackson has been a titan of country music for decades. However, the 65-year-old country music icon is now at last talking about his reasons for avoiding the limelight. Come along as we reveal the poignant reality of Alan Jackson's departure. Childhood. Newnan, Georgia, a small hamlet steeped in Southern customs and beliefs, was the birthplace of Alan Jackson on October 17, 1958. His parents, Joseph Eugene "Daddy" Gene Jackson and Ruth Music, Mama Ruth Jackson, were industrious workers who gave their family a loving but modest home. Growing up with 4 elder sisters who frequently showered their little brother with affection, Alan was the youngest of 5 children. Resilience and simplicity, which would eventually characterize Alan's music and personality, were the cornerstones of the Jackson household. The family's house served as a representation of their ingenuity and strong ties to their ancestry. The Jacksons chose to live in an old tool shed that had originally belonged to Alan's grandfather, rather than a newly constructed home. This modest building was gradually enlarged and converted into a useful residence where the family congregated, worked, and fostered their aspirations. The majority of their heritage was English, which is consistent with the greater story of early migrants who had established their homes in the American South generations earlier. The sounds of gospel music, which permeated many Southern homes and churches, filled Alan's early years. His profound admiration of meaningful music, with a strong narrative, was sparked by these spiritual songs. But Alan's musical horizons were soon expanded by a buddy, who introduced him to traditional country music, like Hank Williams Jr., John Anderson, and Gene Watson. Alan was moved by their unique fusion of honky-tonk, traditional country, and outlaw edge, which stoked his love of using music to convey stories. After completing his studies at Newnan High School and Elm Street Elementary School, he established a quiet yet unwavering work ethic and sense of discipline. Alan joined a local band named Dixie Steel after graduating, stoking his developing musical enthusiasm. He gained priceless experience playing live and interacting with people, even in small settings. As the band performed in small clubs and venues throughout Georgia, he supported himself and his wife Denise by working blue-collar jobs including construction labor and forklift operation. Despite the physical demands of these performances, he developed a grounded, nonsense sensibility that would later be seen in the genuineness of his music. Alan never faltered in his dedication to music, in spite of the long hours and hard effort. After demanding workdays, he frequently performed late into the night. Alan started writing his own music seriously in 1983. His rural upbringing, life experiences, and profound love of classic country music were all blended together in his works. Alan and Denise made a crucial choice, after realizing that Newnan provided few options for someone looking to pursue a serious career in country music. They packed up their things and relocated to Nashville, Tennessee, the center of the country music industry. In 1985, when Alan was 27 years old, Jackson put forth a lot of effort after arriving in Nashville to make a name for himself in the cutthroat music industry. He recorded a demo CD called New Traditional at Doc's Place in Hendersonville, Tennessee, in 1987. Even though the album was only officially published in Japan and did not have widespread circulation, it is nonetheless a fascinating example of Jackson's early work. Even before he was completely accepted by the mainstream music industry, New Original shone his dedication to maintaining the original country sound. The start of one of the most prosperous and well-respected careers in country music history occurred during this time. Through talent, perseverance, and a strong commitment to his heritage, Alan Jackson gradually laid the groundwork for his eventual rise to fame in the country music industry. His professional trajectory. In the late 1980s, Alan Jackson moved to Tennessee and started a journey that would change the face of country music. Jackson's journey started in modest circumstances, like those of many aspiring artists. He accepted a position in the mail office of the Nashville Network, a Southern culture and country music television network. Even while his first position wasn't particularly glamorous, it put him in close proximity to important people in the field, providing him with priceless opportunity to watch and learn. Jackson would go to live tapings of the well-known TV singing competition, You Can Be a Star, in his free time. In addition to seeing up-and-coming artists, this provided him with a unique chance to network with insiders in the country music industry. A turning point in Jackson's career happened at one of these tapings in 1986. During a commercial break, Jackson, who was seated in the crowd, was suddenly requested to perform. He approached the stage and sang a beautiful cover of George Jones's "He Stopped Loving Her Today," demonstrating his brilliance despite having little preparation. In addition to receiving praise for his passionate performance, Keith Stegall, a renowned singer, composer, and that evening's guest judge, took notice. After seeing Jackson's unadulterated talent, Stegall would mentor him and produce almost 20 of his albums, contributing to the development of the distinctive neo-traditional sound that would characterize a large portion of Jackson's career. However, Jackson's ascent to fame was also influenced by fate. On a trip, his wife, Denise, who was then a flight attendant, met the renowned Glen Campbell. Denise tried to encourage Alan's aspirations by telling Campbell about her spouse. Campbell was moved by her commitment and gave her his personal manager's business card. Later on, this relationship would turn out to be crucial, providing further opportunities within the Nashville music industry. Jackson's career officially began when he was signed to a recording contract with Arista Records. Thanks to a combination of chance and persistence, Jackson made history in 1989 when he became the first performer signed to Arista Nashville, Arista Records' country branch. Although Blue-Blooded Woman, his debut single, did not have much chart success, it set the stage for future releases. Jackson's 1990 single, Here in the Real World, became a huge hit and peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. This popularity served as the impetus for his first album, Here in the Real World, which featured his first ever number 1 song, I'd Love You All Over Again, along with numerous successful singles, including Wanted and Chasin' That Neon Rainbow. Don't Rock the Jukebox, Jackson's second album, built on the popularity of his first. This album turned out to be even more popular, producing a number of hits that all charted strongly, including the title tune, Someday in Dallas. Jackson further cemented his position in the top tiers of country music with the fan-favorite song, Midnight in Montgomery, a melancholic yet stirring ode to Hank Williams. His contributions on Randy Travis's 1991 album, High Lonesome, demonstrate how in demand his songwriting skills were. Jackson's career peaked with the release of his third album, A Lot About Living and a Little About Love. The fast-paced Chattahoochee, which became one of his signature songs, was one of the album's most enduring hits. In addition to winning Jackson other accolades, including as the 1994 Country Music Association's Single of the Year award, this song became a cultural anthem that perfectly captured the spirit of carefree summer days and Southern youth. She's got the rhythm and I got the blues. Tonight I climbed the wall. And Who Says You Can't Have It All were some of the album's other highlights. Jackson made a crucial decision in 1994 when his career took off when he quit his long-standing management firm, 1010 Management, and started working with Gary Overton. Jackson's fourth studio album, Who I Am, was released at the same time as this new stage in his career and was another huge commercial success. Gone Country, Living on Love, and Summertime Blues were among the number 1 songs from the album. The latter song quickly became popular and struck a deep chord with country listeners, addressing the growing trend of urban transplants trying to make it in Nashville. As his career took off, Jackson's influence went beyond just music. During an episode of the popular sitcom, Home Improvement in 1996, he performed Mercury Blues as a guest. His music became more widely known as a result of his increased prominence in popular culture. Jackson also published his greatest hits compilation at this period, which went on to become one of his best-selling albums. It included hits from all over his career, in addition to 2 brand new songs, Tall Trees and I'll Try. For Alan Jackson, the 1990s marked a turning point in his career as an artist and as a cultural icon. His 1996 CD, Everything I Love, included the smash single Little Bitty, which praised small-town living. This album demonstrated Jackson's signature approach of fusing new elements with classic country music. Not all releases, though, were as successful as others. Everything I Love's single, A House with No Curtains, became Jackson's first song to miss the top 10 in almost 10 years. However, this period of hardship was brief. With his 1998 album, High Mileage, which included the hit song Right on the Money, Jackson bounced back and cemented his status as one of the greatest country music artists. Jackson did, however, take a daring artistic gamble in 1999 when he released Under the Influence, an album that highlighted his passion for vintage country music and included interpretations of songs by George Jones and Merle Haggard. In a time when pop influences were taking over the charts, Jackson's dedication to maintaining the classic country sound was demonstrated by the album, which was a return to his roots. Both his music and his public behavior during this time demonstrated Jackson's dedication to traditional country music. George Jones was asked by the Country Music Association to cut down his rendition of Choices during the 1999 CMA Awards. Jackson's daring act of performing Choices in full during his own concert in support of Jones won him admiration from purists of country music. Jackson carved out a distinct niche for himself in the country music industry and was well known by the early 2000s. Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning is a solemn reflection on the emotional aftermath of the attacks that Jackson wrote in response to the horrific events that rocked the country in September 2001. It struck a profound chord with Americans, and one of the most unforgettable moments in the history of the show was Jackson's emotional performance at the 2001 CMA Awards. The song was never intended to be released as a single, but due to the huge popular demand, it was officially released in 2002 and swiftly rose to become one of Jackson's most well-known songs. Jackson remained loyal to his roots while experimenting with his sound in the years that followed. His love of holiday music was demonstrated with his 2003 album, Let It Be Christmas, and his 2006 gospel album, Precious Memories, became an unexpected commercial hit, selling over 1.8 million copies and solidifying his popularity in a variety of musical genres. In 2013, he also recorded a bluegrass album called The Bluegrass Album, which peaked at #1 on the Billboard Top Bluegrass Albums chart and received positive reviews. Jackson has stayed dedicated to maintaining the authenticity of classic country music throughout his career. His collaboration with George Strait on the 2000 single Murder on Music Row, which bemoaned the commercialization of country music and the emergence of pop country, made this clear. Despite not being a record, the song generated a lot of discussion in the country music scene and served as a rallying cry for musicians and fans who believed the genre was drifting away from its origins. Jackson's legacy just got bigger over time. An exhibit honoring Jackson's 25 years in the business was unveiled by the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2014. Additionally, he reinforced his commitment to classic country themes with the release of Angels and Alcohol in 2015. Genuine: The Alan Jackson Story, a 3-disc box set that Jackson published in 2016, including some of his best-known songs, as well as unreleased ones. The 2021 album, Where Have You Gone?, which followed, reflected Jackson's thoughts on the status of contemporary country music, and his conviction that it had deviated too much from its historical foundations. Alan Jackson has been a staunch supporter of the music he loves throughout his career, and his commitment to preserving country music's roots has won him admiration from both fans and musicians. From his early days working in the mailroom in Nashville to his current position as one of the most revered figures in country music, Jackson's career is proof of the strength of talent, hard work, and genuineness. He has cemented his position in the annals of country music history by ensuring that his music continues to resonate with both new and old audiences through his ability to experiment with new sounds and his everlasting adherence to the traditions of the genre. Was his private life as glitzy, though? Personal relationships and marital difficulties. For a large portion of the 1990s, Alan and Denise Jackson's marriage flourished alongside Alan's explosive rise in country music, making them seem to the public like the quintessential American love story, high school sweethearts. However, behind their ostensibly ideal life, their relationship was subtly failing due to the strain of notoriety, distance, and intense personal issues. Despite having created a successful and admired life together, conflicts simmered beneath the surface as they grew more and more estranged from one another. The adventure of Alan and Denise started while they were teenagers in Newnan, Georgia, and they were married young in 1979. The demands and pressures of fame started to weaken Alan's marriage as his music career took off, resulting in sold-out tours and platinum records. In her biography, It's All About Him, Denise subsequently disclosed that she was under a great deal of stress due to Alan's infidelity, as well as her own issues with codependency and the desire for approval from others. Their 18-year relationship ended in 1997 as a result of these problems that had gotten worse over time. Denise went on a profound spiritual journey throughout their separation, concentrating on self-discovery and re-establishing her connection to her faith. Alan, in the meantime, considered what he stood to lose and slowly made contact with Denise. requesting that they rekindle their romance in straightforward, sincere ways. Reconciliation was not a simple or quick process. Denise's forgiveness was a gradual, methodical process that took everyday grace and dedication. By putting an emphasis on communication, a common faith, and spending quality time together, both partners sought to reestablish trust and transform their relationship. Their reconciliation served as evidence of the ability of grace and healing to transcend even the most severe wounds. Beyond their private lives, the Jackson family prospered in a variety of pursuits. Alan's nephew Adam Wright and his wife Shannon became the musical rights holders and worked with Alan on his album, What I Do, while Denise released The Road Home in 2008. The family also garnered media attention in the real estate industry, after selling a sizable home in Tennessee in 2010, and then purchasing and offering several properties in the Nashville region. Notwithstanding his notoriety, Alan remained close friends with country music icons George Strait and Jones, honoring their relationship with songs and performances. Alan's passions, especially his love of vintage cars and his impressive collection of rare automobiles, were also evident in his life outside of music. Alan and Denise's journey is a unique illustration of perseverance in the spotlight of celebrity life, spanning numerous chapters, professional victories, personal struggles, and treasured friendships. Their path of adversity, forgiveness, and reconciliation serves as a powerful reminder that true love necessitates forbearance, faith, and endurance even in the most dazzling of circumstances. Denise's health issues persisted even after they were resolved. In 2010, Denise Jackson received a diagnosis of colorectal cancer, which led to one of the most difficult struggles of her life. Denise's entire family was taken aback by the diagnosis, and they all struggled to keep their lives regular while navigating this unexpected health issue. Denise's journey started when her doctors noticed a possible problem during a routine visit. Colorectal carcinoma was the confirmed diagnosis following additional tests. She was obviously heartbroken at the time, but as she started the road to recovery, her fortitude and resolve were made clear. She had a vigorous treatment plan. Denise received 2 4-day cycles of chemotherapy after 30 days of radiation treatment. Despite the enormous physical toll these treatments imposed on her body, Denise remained steadfast in her resolve to combat the illness. Her family, particularly Alan, gave her much-needed support during the process, which kept her upbeat and inspired. Denise finally got the positive news she had been waiting for after 2 months of intensive treatment. Officially, she had no cancer. Her rehabilitation became a beacon of hope for many others going through similar struggles, and the relief was evident. Many who followed her path were inspired by her ability to overcome such a traumatic event with fortitude and resiliency, which was a credit to her character. But the path to wellness wasn't always easy. Denise may have received a second cancer diagnosis, this time for breast cancer. According to later sources, the specifics of this second diagnosis were still not quite known, but Denise and her family surely experienced a tremendous emotional toll. Her struggles with health appeared to be far from done. Denise's determination persisted in spite of the difficulties she encountered. In the years after her recovery, she took even more initiative to maintain her health. Understanding the value of leading a healthy lifestyle, Denise made steps to make sure she was reducing her risk of developing new health problems as much as possible. She started exercising regularly, made eating a healthy diet a priority, and made reducing stress a priority. She also started advocating for early detection, emphasizing the value of routine examinations and self-care. In addition to altering Denise's outlook on life on a physical and emotional level, her cancer experience bolstered her faith and determination to live life to the fullest despite her health struggles. Her family, friends, and even Alan's admirers, who had followed her path through interviews and public appearances, praised her resilience. Denise's bravery served as a potent reminder that even though life may present difficulties in unexpected ways, even the most difficult situations can be conquered with the strength of faith and resilience. Her narrative has been told in a number of interviews, and in her book, It's All About Him, Finding the Love of My Life, in which she discusses not just her union with Alan, but also the significant shifts in her own life in this difficult period. After overcoming cancer, her dedication to leading a healthy physical and mental life served as an example to many, spreading optimism and the value of accepting life in all its complexity. Was Denise the only one with a health issue, though? Let's investigate. Alan's health issue. Due to his experience with Shko-Marie-Tooth disease, Alan Jackson has faced unexpected emotional and professional obstacles Jackson, who is well known for his soft voice and timeless country tunes, was diagnosed with a degenerative neurological condition that he inherited from his father in 2011. Particularly in the lower legs and feet, Charcot tooth damages the peripheral nerves, resulting in numbness, muscle weakness, and problems with balance. Jackson's mobility and performing career will likely face long-term obstacles due to this incurable illness, which can be managed with therapy and assistive technology, but usually worsens with time. Jackson thought the symptoms were a normal aspect of aging when he first observed them. However, it got more and more difficult to move and balance on stage as the illness worsened. For someone who had long been accustomed to performing in front of large crowds, his tripping and coordination issues were particularly annoying. Jackson kept performing and stayed dedicated to his followers in spite of the mounting difficulties. But as time went on, it became evident that touring was taking too much of a physical toll, which made him seriously consider his future as a performer. After his farewell, last call, one more for the road tour, Jackson declared in 2021 that he was retiring from touring. The choice, however bittersweet, stemmed from his need to concentrate on his family and other facets of life, and the growing challenges of managing his health on stage. Jackson underlined that his passion for music remained strong, and that he planned to continue working in the studio. Despite the fact that leaving the road was challenging, his announcement signaled the start of a new chapter, centered on artistic expression, free from the constraints of travel, as well as the end of an era for live performances. On a personal level, Charcot-Marie Tooth has made Jackson face his physical limitations and aging while also helping him to understand what is really important in life. He has thanked his family, fans, and the music industry for their constant support. Jackson has stepped back from live performing, but instead of giving up, he has stayed positive and committed to creating significant contributions to music. His dedication to writing and recording new music demonstrates his love and wish to keep a close relationship with his followers. In the end, many have been moved by Alan Jackson's candor regarding his encounter with Charcot-Marie Tooth, which conveys a message of grace and resiliency in the face of chronic disease. Jackson has emphasized the value of tenacity and thankfulness by ending his touring career on his own terms and embracing new challenges. His legacy endures as he continues to compose and produce music, serving as both a reminder of the therapeutic value of music and overcoming adversity and an ongoing tribute to his influence in country music. Was it only his health difficulties that caused him to retire? Is it more than that? He also gave up music for other reasons. The end of an incredible era marked by decades of passionate music, perseverance, and a strong commitment to family is marked by Alan Jackson's retirement from touring. Jackson made the decision to leave the road and enjoy the more subdued pleasures of home life after more than 30 years as a mainstay of country music. As he got ready to welcome his first grandchild and cherish the ordinary times with his wife, kids, and expanding family, his songs, which frequently highlighted small-town values and familial ties, mirrored his goals in real life. His desire to be totally there for significant events and spend quality time with loved ones drove his decision. Jackson openly admitted that, in addition to family, his health was a factor in his decision to retire. Jackson acknowledged that performing has grown more physically demanding after receiving a diagnosis of Charcot-Marie Tooth disease, a degenerative neurological condition that impairs balance and agility. He did, however, stress that his condition was not the only factor in the choice. Additionally, it was about moving toward a way of living free from the taxing demands of touring. He started the last call one more for the road farewell tour in appreciation of his fans, giving them a final opportunity to see him live, and a series of heartfelt performances that honored his legendary career. Jackson has stated that he is not completely abandoning music, even though he is leaving the stage. In addition to pursuing other interests and spending time with his family, he intends to keep writing and recording whenever inspiration strikes. His retirement signifies a smooth transition into a new chapter, one that is characterized by the same sincerity and modesty that made him a revered figure in country music, rather than its conclusion. His legacy lives on as evidence of his artistic ability and his devotion to the small, meaningful joys in life. How does his connection with his daughters compare to that of his daughters in music? Being a loving father to his 3 daughters, Maddie, Alexandra, and Dani, is a significant part of Alan Jackson's reputation as a country music icon. Despite his notoriety, accolades, and #1 status, Jackson frequently puts his family first. He has repeatedly underlined that his family's affection and closeness, rather than his professional honors, constitute his greatest achievements. His actions demonstrate his strong dedication to parenthood, as he has always made an effort to strike a balance between his hard work and spending time with his family, taking family vacations, going to school functions, and spending time together in the ordinary. Jackson's background in Newnan, Georgia, influenced his parenting approach, which is based on accountability, humility, and constant support for his children. Although the Jackson girls have each followed their own paths, they still have close ties to their father. The eldest, Maddie, endured extreme hardship with the untimely death of her spouse, Ben Selichman, in 2018. She published a book on loss and healing, and joined her father in entrepreneurial endeavors, including the founding of Silverbelly Whiskey, as she discovered strength in writing and advocacy during her grief. Jackson is proud of Maddie because of her fortitude and capacity to handle adversity. Known for her bright and lively nature, Alexandra has a strong bond with her family and frequently posts happy and loving moments on social media. Her strong bond with both of her sisters and her respect for her father are more examples of the close-knit family Jackson has attempted to establish. The youngest, Dani, has maintained a low profile in comparison to her sisters, but she consistently shows up at family events and exemplifies the virtues of humility and kindness that her parents taught her. Jackson's devotion to his girls is not only demonstrated by his deeds, but also captured in his songs. You'll Always Be My Baby, a poignant ode to his girls as they grew older and neared important life milestones, was written and sung by him in 2002. The song captures Jackson's intense pride and affection, while encapsulating the bittersweet feelings of fatherhood. In order to give an intimate touch that connected with fans and families worldwide, he even published a lyric video featuring personal family images and videos. Jackson has praised each daughter's individual traits in interviews and public appearances, highlighting Maddie's fortitude, Alexandra's warmth, and Dani's self-reflection. His respect for their morals, accomplishments, and poise emphasizes their close relationship even more. Fatherhood for Alan Jackson is characterized by love, sacrifice, and legacy. In addition to serving as his musical inspirations, his girls have been the mainstays of his life. Jackson's love for his daughters demonstrates the value of family in his life, whether it's through his compositions, joint business endeavors, or regular family times. The significant influence his daughters have had on him is demonstrated by his capacity to keep a close, meaningful relationship with them in spite of the demands of his work. Please click the next video that appears on your screen. Like and subscribe if you like this one.